Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here from Miss Carrie's Creations. And today I'm going to be creating an adorable puppy page in a traveler's journal. I'm going to be using some of the pet perspectives from Bramble, which include the Doggone Cute title and the mini treat pieces, which are so much fun to use on your pet pages. There are some new releases in the pet collections, but I'll be using ones that came out a few months ago. Our daughter adopted a puppy on Valentine's Day, so I thought I would create a little traveler's journal of this fur baby growing up. I have gathered some winter pattern papers in blue and red to match this Doggone Cute perspective. I'll be pairing this with the little dog treats pieces and a couple of these perspective hearts. These hearts have the same matte finish as the title perspective, and they're a perfect shape for a puppy page. I've also grabbed a variety of Bramble dies that I want to use on the page. As I create this page, I'll bring in a few more items, and I'll make sure to add those to the list of supplies in the description below. The Traveler's Journal is a 9" by 4" album, so I've already cut down white cardstock from my background pieces. I have discovered that it's best to punch the holes into the background paper ahead of time so that you don't accidentally place a photo, a phrase, or a title where the binder rings are going to pass through. I was inspired by this 12 by 12 page map sketch, which is a great design for smaller albums like this one. Using the sketch as a guide, I am adding those blue pattern papers to the background. These are all Christmas and winter collections that have very basic patterns. I do like this little notebook piece above the photo in the sketch, but with such a small photo, I don't want to add too much around it, so I'm going to use that design at the top of the page. Now I want to work on the main patterns for the right page. I want these patterns to go in an opposite direction to match the vertical photo I'll be using. I'm going to leave quite a bit of white space on this page because I find that traveler journals can quickly get crowded and you do need a little bit of breathing room. I want to bring a little bit of red over here, so I'm adding a rickrack border that I cut with a die. I'm going to cut 2 pieces so that it spans the length of the page. This space will be hidden behind the photo, so no one's going to see it. While I have this die set out, I'm going to create a little pocket piece. My title is the same color as the pattern papers in the background, and this pocket is going to help it stand out a little bit more. Off camera, I added some stitching to the page and brought in some pattern papers to place behind my photos. This brought in some more patterns and colors to both pages and helped those photos stand out on the layout. I've also added a tag at the base of the page, and I'm going to add 2 more near the top of the photo. These were cut using some more Bramble dies, and they're creating a nice visual triangle with the soft blue pattern on the right page. Creating traveler journal pages aren't much different than designing a larger layout. You do need to scale down some of the elements and try not to overcrowd the pages, but the rules of design are basically the same. Before I add any more to the page, I want to add some stitching to the white areas of the layout. I considered adding inked stencil images, but I do want to keep this area white, so I'm going to use this stencil as a stitching template instead. I have placed a piece of foam behind my page, and I'm using a die piercing tool to create the holes. I'm going to pierce a hole in each of these little dashes, then move the stencil over and continue the pattern to the next page. I'm also going to add a half circle over on the right page using the same template. Stencils and dies make great stitching guides. I think one of my favorite things to do here is show you multiple ways to use those items you have in your collection. For the stitching, I'm using a white embroidery floss. This comes with 6 strands, but I'm only going to use 3 of them. If you wanted thicker stitches, you can use more strands of thread. This is going to be a simple back stitch, nothing more. On my channel, I do have a tutorial that shows multiple embroidery stitches like the Lazy Daisy, French knot, and others. If you want to give some of those a try, I would love to see it. When you get to the end of the first page, you're going to want to make this border look like it's a continued stitched line. And the easiest way to do this is to wrap it around the edge of the page. I'm going to do that with this final stitch, then secure it on the back. On the second page, I'm going to start a few stitches in and wrap that final stitch around to the back to secure it, and then I'll continue stitching. Once these are secure, it does look like a continued border stitched across the page. Didn't that stitching turn out great? I love what it adds to the pages. We still have the white space that these pages require, but it has a little bit of texture in the background. I'm going to add a few phrases to my layout. Near the top of the photo, I'm adding a little circle and a phrase sticker. This is going to say, "Hello, sweetheart." I'm also going to add a little tab phrase near the right side photo that says "Good times." Then I'll add a few additional phrases near the top of this page. This is also where you could add some journaling strips if you wished. Instead of bringing in more colors, I selected phrases that were in the same shades of blue as the other blue elements on the page. This just creates a nice cohesive look and doesn't make this layout feel too cluttered. Now that the phrases are in place, I want to add some daisies to the layout. This little puppy's name is Daisy, so of course I need to add a few floral pieces. I'm going to place 2 near the title and 1 near the phrases on the right side of the page. Next to those larger daisies, I'm going to add some small blue flowers. These are just going to tuck underneath each of the daisies, and then I'll add a few leaves and some blue dots in the center. Now that all the floral elements are in place, I'm going to bring in those little tree perspectives and the heart shapes. I'm honestly debating if I really need to add them to this layout. Like I said earlier, travel journal pages can fill up fast, and adding too many pieces can overwhelm the page. After fussing a bit, I decided that I wanted to add some hearts because they do fit well with the design. 2 of these match the curvature of the letters in the title, so they look like they're part of that perspective. I'm also adding hearts near the phrases to form a visual triangle with the center of the daisy. And I'm going to add another large heart near the 2 tickets at the top of the photo. Now, I wasn't sure about adding the 2 little snack bones near the base of the page, but I do like how the 2 little treats form a nice visual triangle with the light blue in the tickets. All right, here is the completed travel journal layout that I created today. I know that there were a lot of details on this one, but that is something that I love doing. This honestly was a very simple design based on a sketch, and I was able to recreate it with perspectives, dies, a stencil, and pattern papers. The smaller page does make that perspective appear quite large, but it does fit perfectly with the design, and it stands out really well on top of that little pocket. I'm going to share a few close-ups of this page so that you can see all the lovely details. Our daughter adopted this little one on Valentine's Day, which gave me an excuse to create an adorable puppy layout. The album I create for this new family member is going to be a smaller travel album, which is a great size for themed photos. I would love to know if you are one who has started creating traveler journals or considered creating a smaller album like this. As a mom with grown children, this is a great size for my current stage of life where I have a limited number of photos. I want to thank you again for joining me as I created another scrapbook layout and shared this memory with you. If you would like to see more of my projects, you can visit my channel or follow Miss Carrie's Creations online. If you have any questions about this design or the supplies listed above, feel free to comment. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.